Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. We are actually going to be starting our new homeschool year next Monday, so 6 days from today. So I thought that I would share some tips on how to get your kids back into that routine once your break is over. Yes, you heard that right. We are starting school again next week for our new year. That is because we do what I call a Sabbath homeschool schedule. We usually homeschool 6 weeks on and then take a 1 week break. 6 weeks on and take a 1 week break. And then we will take a 6 week break at Christmas time and usually a 6 week break for like spring and summer. And if you're more interested in this and hearing more about it, I'll leave a link in the description box for it. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. And it just so turned out though that this year my kids got a 7 week break because we usually will start the second week of July, and so this was actually the 6th week. Next week is the 7th week, so they did get that extra week in there. But anyway, this is something that a lot of people ask me about. They want some tips on how to get their kids back into the homeschool routine once you've been on a break. Because some kids might be raring to go and other kids might be fighting you tooth and nail. And I have to say that this isn't even something that is just the kids. A lot of times we parents have a hard time just getting ourselves motivated to get started on that new homeschool year. And you know, first of all, I want to tell you there is no magic trick for getting this to work for all of your kids. You are going to, no matter what you do, have some kids who unfortunately aren't happy about your new year starting. They're not happy about having to get back into a routine again, and they're gonna let you know about it. And I'm just gonna let you know. So if you try all of the things that I mentioned here and then some other things that you've read and they still don't work, please don't think that it's something that you yourself have done. It is simply, it's kids' personalities. They all differ. So I just want to share some matter-of-fact advice with you. I'm not going to have any fancy schmancy ideas for you. I'm not one of those parents who will go and will, start printing out all kinds of like back to school bingo and, decorate the house for your first day of school. And I know there are homeschooling families who do that, and bravo to you. Unfortunately, that's just not me. I'm a busy mom. I've still got 8 kids at home, and I was never really that sort of a person to begin with, not really the hands-on crafty kind of person. So what I'm going to share with you today are really some basic tips that might just kind of put a light on for you and give you some ideas on what you might want to try. I'm going to start with the usual advice that a lot of homeschoolers will tell you when you are going back to school from a break. A lot of people will tell you to start with a little bit at a time. Instead of going full speed ahead and starting all of your exercises and your lessons and all of your subjects, they will recommend that you start out with, a lighter schedule. Maybe you could start out with a read aloud and the basics, like maybe language arts and math. And then you could do that for a few days or maybe even the first week. And then the next week you could add in social studies or some unit study activities. And then the following week you could add in some science and maybe some art. And, just something along those lines of just starting a little bit at a time in increments. And I know that that does work for a lot of kids because it's hard for them to go from doing, no homeschool routine to full-blown homeschool routine. Now, I've got to be honest and say that does not work with my kids. With my kids, if I would start them out with just a little bit, just like a lighter schedule, when I would add the extra subjects on, they would say to me, well, why are you adding more? You're tacking more onto our homeschool day. Why are you giving us more stuff to do? That is the sort of kids that I have, and even now, like, even though we do basically the same schedule all year long, they notice if I tag anything additional on there. And so this is something that for our family has never worked. We have always just started out with our normal routine right away after a break. But I can give you some ideas on if you are going to do things that way, if you think that your kids would be the same way, or if you just have a preference of wanting to start everything at once. Some ideas that you can do are, just get your kids excited about starting homeschooling again. take them shopping for their school supplies. Let them pick out what they're going to get, their little notebooks, their pencils, their erasers, their craft supplies. Talk to them about what sorts of activities you're planning on doing. You know, just have a little shopping trip, maybe take them out if you can for some ice cream afterwards, but just get them excited, get them ready, and let them set up their little area wherever they keep their supplies, and then they can see it there. And I wouldn't do this too long before you're going to start. I would say probably maybe like a week before you're going to start, because if you do it, say, a month ahead of time, your kids are going to get so used to seeing those school supplies there that when you do start, it's like old hat to them. They're not going to care about it anymore. So do it rather close to when you're going to be starting your school year, so that it's, you know, it's still fresh in their minds, and this is still like, these supplies are still new to them. You could also do a countdown. That's something that I did for years. I actually didn't even start it yet this year, but a lot of times, even like 3 weeks before school starts, I will put a countdown on the whiteboard, and I will say like 21 days till our new homeschool year, and then I'll just mark it down every day. 20 days, 19 days, and I'll mention something to the kids. And at first, the kids, like when they first see me put it up there, they're like, oh no. But, you know, as time ticks on, I might say to them, look guys, we're at 16 days. Be excited about it. Let them know that you are excited about it. And I'll tell you that even though at first when they see me write that up there and they're like, oh no, by the end of the countdown, maybe like, you know, 5 days till school starts, 4 days till school, 3 days till school, then you will actually start seeing some excitement build up, because they've been watching that countdown, and especially if they see that you are excited about it too. And, you know, so that's another idea, is to talk it up. Let them know how excited you are. And I mentioned before about letting them know what sorts of activities that you want to do. Ask them if they have any ideas, if they have any special things that they'd like to learn about. What kinds of field trips do you want to do this year? And really let them have some input, and let them know that they're as much a part of the homeschool planning as you are. And I know that homeschool planning is usually something that a lot of homeschooling parents do, like way before the start of the new homeschool year. If you just get your kids' input at the last minute, it is going to not only give you fresh ideas, but again, it's going to build up that excitement that your kids just might not have on their own. And so the last tip that I want to give you is just when you do start your new homeschool year and you do start that new routine, I cannot emphasize to you how important it is that you just be as consistent as you can. I know that life always throws wrenches in the way. Like with us, even our second homeschool week, we're already gonna have to take the day off because I've got to take my daughter to the doctor. So I get it. I get that there are things that happen that are unexpected. But do your best to be as consistent as you can. If you keep your routine going for as long as you possibly can, I think I've read that, 3 weeks of consistency, and then keeping that pattern, keeping that routine going is not as hard for everyone. So really, consistency really is the key. And it sounds a lot of times like a cliche. You hear that all the time, but that's because it is so true. If you are really good about following that routine, following that schedule every day, it will even help your kids to just ease their anxiety a little bit about what their school year is going to look like. They know what's going to happen every day. Maybe not exactly, they don't know the exercises, but they know what order things go in, and they know what they're going to be waking up to each day. So really, especially at the beginning of the school year, try your best to keep on that routine the best that you can. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram, because YouTube, I think, has disabled my comments again. You never know with them. I think it was a mistake before. Anyway, and if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day. And if you are starting out a new homeschool year soon, I hope you have a happy one.